So much, but now it's time to get your pet questions answered live on the air. So give us a call, 413-377-2001 right now. There are still a few lines open, so don't delay. And as always, we're joined by Dr. Katie Spaulding. She's a veterinarian from the Dakin Humaine Society. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, our first question, as we were saying earlier, it actually comes from Ashley Baylor. So Ashley, take it away. What is your question?
And he is asthmatic. He does cough a lot, but his coughing seems to have gotten better, but he does sneeze a lot. And I was wondering if there was anything I can give him to help his sneezing, any medication, or is it simply I just need to clean more?
So spring allergies.
Spring, and it's only happening during the spring?
He does it all year, but it gets worse in the spring.
Okay. If it is, seasonal, he could have allergies to, pollens in the air, certain environmental allergens. If you talk to your vet about kind of doing environmental testing to see what he is allergic to, there are injections that can be given to kind of desensitize him to those allergens. In terms of giving him any medication, I wouldn't want to suggest anything without talking to your vet first, in case, he's got asthma, you said, so there's contraindications with different medications, so you should talk to your vet about meds specifically.
Does that do it for you, Ashley?
Yeah, I think so. Well, my bedspread is covered in snots, so I'm willing to do anything at this point to help his sneezing. And I just feel bad because sometimes you can just hear the congestion in him, and then I know when he's going to sneeze. I know exactly the noise he makes when it's going to be a big flying booger all over my face.
Ashley, I don't want to throw you under the bus, but you could do your laundry. You could wash your sheets.
And?
Okay, well, maybe that would get rid of some of the snots and the boogers. Just throwing it out there.
Do you wash your sheets?
That's none of your business, what I do in my free time.
I don't have time for that.
I know we don't, because we work in news.
I gotta do the weather. I don't have time to wash sheets.
Exactly. Well, okay, maybe we'll wash your sheets for you so Chase can do a little bit better. Thanks for your question, Ashley. So you want to start off with a couple of Facebook questions, Dr. Spaulding?
Sure. So
we have Katie. She asks via Facebook, why do dogs eat grass and then throw it up, and why is it always yellow foam? There's nothing grosser than that, I think.
I know, and that's a pretty common question. I've heard lots of theories about why dogs eat grass, from they need more fiber in their diet, to they ate something and they need to vomit, and so they're eating grass to make them vomit, to they just like the taste of grass. And I kind of feel like they just like the taste of grass. My dog, every time she goes outside, will eat grass and then vomit up the grass, and as long as there's no insecticides or any kind of chemicals that have been applied to the grass, it usually doesn't cause any problem. You just have to try to keep your dog from eating grass.
That's true. Cows eat grass, dogs can eat grass.
Sure, why not?
So we have another one from Facebook, and this is actually a question that's important not only for birds who stay at home, but for wild animals too. Alice is wondering why her birds are eating so much. She has to refill the food so often, and it seems like this is now a departure from the normal for her birds.
Yeah, what I would suggest, if your pet is doing anything out of the ordinary, that it see a veterinarian just to make sure everything is going okay with the pet. I'd be suspicious if it's happening, at the same time, this time of year, every year, although the question doesn't specifically say that, but it's breeding season for a lot of animals, and that may include birds. A lot of animals have to increase their caloric intake to kind of support their reproductive function. So I'm wondering if maybe that has something to do with it.
So either the bird might be pregnant or is in the process of getting pregnant.
Right. Or if it's a male, getting his reproductive tract ready for mating too. So with it being breeding season, another thing that I should mention, lots of animals, wild animals, are breeding, and one of the common questions we get at Dakin is orphaned baby animals, and we just want to mention that, unless you've seen something happen to the mother's probably around, and to just kind of leave babies alone.
It must be a hard thing to do, but if you see those animals that are lying on the street, they might be injured, just leave them alone.
If they're lying in the street, I mean, that's a different
try to remove them from the street. But if they're lying
babies,
on the lawn,
like baby bunnies in a nest or something, and
you
don't see mom around, she probably is around unless you've specifically seen mom lying in the street. But a lot of times people will pick them up thinking they've been orphaned, and they can be really hard to take care of, even with the most experienced rehabber. So just keep an eye on them. Call Dakin or a rehabber with questions about that.
Speaking of questions, we have a caller on the line, Justin from Longmeadow. How you doing?
Hi, I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Not bad, not bad. What question do you have for our veterinarian expert?
I'm actually wondering, I have a 3-legged cat, and on the side of her body that is missing the leg, her neck gets dry skin, and we've tried a few different things, but it doesn't seem that anything really works to get rid of it.
Dry skin. I think it's a problem not just for three-legged cats, but for all animals for that matter.
Yeah, if the dry skin doesn't seem to be associated specifically with the leg, you know, there could be other things at fault, allergies, fleas, if she's itching or scratching. You know, I'd have that checked out, make sure she doesn't have fleas or any kind of mites or anything like that.
Is there a moisturizing shampoo? Because I know people and animals are similar. You know, in the wintertime, my skin gets a little bit dry and flaky, and a moisturizing shampoo or a soap works well.
Yes, moisturizing shampoos, conditioners for pets can be fine for skin issues. Cats usually are pretty good groomers, and so if you're seeing skin like dandruff or something like that in a cat, usually there's something else going on. So I'd recommend having her checked by the vet.
Well, Justin, I hope that helped. Thank you so much. And now we are going to move on a little bit. That being said, the phone lines are still open, so don't delay. Call right now.
We're back with Dr. Katie Spaulding, a veterinarian from the Dakin Humaine Society, and we're answering questions live. And right now we have Susie live on the phone. Hey, Susie.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, so what is your question for our wonderful veterinarian?
Thank you so much for taking my call. I have a 7-month-old kitty, male kitten,
Okay.
and my veterinarian suggests neutering him at 9 months. I was just wondering what your take on that was.
If your veterinarian recommended neutering him at 9 months, you know, I don't know the situation with your kitty, so maybe that's appropriate for your cat. Cats actually can become sexually mature as early as 4 months, 4 to 6 months. So I personally recommend having them neutered before that, so that you can avoid, you know, the negative behaviors that you see with intact cats, like spraying, trying to get outside to find a mate, and you know, of course, helping with the overpopulation problem of kittens. So, you know, talk to your vet specifically about your kitty, but neutering earlier than that is not unheard of. So.
Okay, great. Thanks for calling, Susie.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to move on to a Facebook question. And this one says, what at-home treatments can you use to prevent fleas? Most Petco products cause irritation to their dog's skin, and they're extremely expensive. So they want to know what can be used and if it can be used as on cats as well.
Unfortunately, most of the products that are sold over the counter are not as effective as prescription medications from veterinarians in treating fleas. And you need to be very careful buying over-the-counter medications, because a lot of the ones that are sold for use on dogs can be extremely toxic to cats and can actually kill cats. And so you need to be very careful about that. So people think that they're getting a deal by buying the cheaper medications at places like Petco or Dave's or, you know, those other kind of pet supply stores, but in the end they end up spending more money because the products that they're buying are not doing the job. So I'd recommend talking to her veterinarian and getting a prescription medication to take care of the fleas.
Okay, great. And we have another Facebook question. This person has a new indoor kitty, which is now 5 months old, and with the warm weather here, they want to know how they can leave the windows open and not worry about their kitty falling out.
Well, if there are screens in place and they're, you know, constructed properly, usually that is okay at keeping cats in. I guess I would try it several times with the people at home, where they can kind of supervise and make sure that the kitty's not one of those cats that climb screens and windows that are going to be popping them out. Because if that's the case, then you know, when they leave the house, they should close the windows to be sure. Keeping them inside with the windows open, when he's supervised, I think should be an okay idea for them to do that.
Okay, great. We have another Facebook question. Facebook is a great place to ask them. Their son has a guinea pig and wanted to know what are some things he should be aware of putting them in a hut outside.
I personally would recommend housing guinea pigs inside, just because, you know, being little kind of rodent type animals, you know, predators could try to get in and get to them. Also, they're more prone to parasites and diseases outside with the change in temperature, you know, that can have a toll on their immune system. So I personally would recommend housing guinea pigs indoors instead of outdoors.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for answering these questions. And you can still call. We're asking questions all hour long. Call us at 413-377-2001, and we may select your question to be answered live on air.
Welcome back to Mass Appeal, and we are back with Dr. Katie Spaulding. You're a vet from Dakin Humaine Society. Thanks for sticking around. We've answered some good questions today.
Thank you.
And now we have a caller on the line, Joan.
Yes, hi.
Hi, Joan. How are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
Not too shabby. What's your question for our veterinarian?
Well, it's kind of a two-parter about what cats eat. I had read somewhere, and this kind of bothers me, I like to treat my cats to catnip periodically, but that in older cats, if they eat the fresh catnip, that this can cause kidney disease.
Oh, do you know
Ever
if that's
heard that?
true?
You know, I don't know if that's true. It's not something that I've heard of, but I really don't know the answer to that. I'm sure in excess, it's probably not good for any cat.
That's true.
A little bit though in older cats. I guess I would just say to talk to her vet about that, because
I've
that's
kind of
not
gotten,
something
you know, I
about.
read it somewhere, but yet my vet is saying the same thing, you know, that you did, so I was just curious to see if you had ever heard of that before.
Yeah, it's like sweets. Too much of anything is a
Yes.
good thing. But yeah, definitely maybe check with your
Right.
vet, and then maybe you'll find the answers that way too, because it could be a cat-specific thing. Is that right?
It could be. In older cats though that are prone to kidney problems anyways, you know, moderation. So.
Right.
You know.
And I do have a cat, coincidentally. I had grown some fresh catnip, and now she does have kidney disease. And, you know, anyway, the second part of the question is cats. You answered the question about dogs who go outside and eat grass, and some dogs just like it, some do it because they need to throw up. Is the same true for cats? Do they do it for enjoyment, or do they have, you know, a tummy ache going on? I have one cat now who insists on running out and running to the end of the yard to one patch of grass in particular and just munching.
It's probably a tasty patch of grass.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, I know there's different types of grass. I haven't seen her vomit or, you know, any signs of her being ill, but is it the same as for dogs, that sometimes they just like it?
I think so. And, you know, commercially you can buy cat grass, which
Yes.
usually is wheatgrass,
Grass.
and grow it indoors. And
Yep.
cats like to chow down on that too. And it's a little safer. You know what's
Yeah,
on
you
the
know
grass.
what's in the cat grass.
Yeah, I only use organics in my backyard where the pets are. I don't ever use any chemicals back there. But you're right, and I didn't think of that because I do buy them the wheatgrass or the organic one when I can find it. But she's just like obsessed with running out there to eat this, and I thought, should I be
Well, good luck with your older
you.
cat. Unfortunately, we're out of time, but I hope everything goes well with your cat.
Yeah, thanks for your call.
Dr. Katie Spaulding, it's always a pleasure to have you here. And if you still have questions for Dr. Spaulding, maybe we didn't get to yours today, put it on our Facebook page, or feel free to email the show or give Dakin a call.